individual leagues, but he dropped out early. That was a long time ago. So KT fan here holding up that KT scarf. We'll see if they can hold on with Stats here, because I mean, this is going to be their toughest match yet, I feel. When you look at the lineups, like the first two matchups, it was like favored for KT, and then we had upsets, and then finally Zest was like, all right, no more upsets.
Yeah.
Three games
I'm coming
in a row,
in here,
I take
laying it down, you know,
Yeah.
here I am, get that win. This is going to be interesting, too, because it is on Dusk Towers, so it's going to be one of these very passive, longer games I would expect. I wouldn't be surprised if Maru tries to put on some aggression, you know, because Stats is probably going to be playing a bit greedy as the Protoss take that backdoor base. Maybe he goes for a Widowmine drop or something like that, try to get ahead and then go like double expand. I've seen Maru do that before, would not be surprised to see him do it again.
Yeah, I think we're just going to see Maru play standard. He's going to do the innovation strat where he just kind of sits back and doesn't cut too many corners and harasses a little bit. His multitasking has really been on point. His drop play and also his run bys to kill the fourth base, especially on like Orbital Shipyard, really powerful right now. It's how he's been playing it. So there's a lot out there for Stats to study of Maru, you know, because he's been playing in so many Pro League matches. But how many matches in this matchup? How recent? How how relevant versus Stats? You know, coming off of a loss, his mentality from that as well. He looked nervous. That's what all the Korean fans, the Korean commentators were talking about during that finals, is like how nervous was Stats, and can he keep his composure here when his team is on its deathbed here? If he loses, it's all over.
If I'm Stats, I'm shivering in my boots, man, going up against Maru. I mean, every single time I see Maru play, it's like the Maru of old, right? His control is on point. It's like when he was playing on Outboxer and he was splitting like 5 Marauders to snipe 1 Colossus and outplay the Protoss. That's where he's at again, like every time I see him play. So
yeah,
I've been looking forward to this match all day. I really want to see where Maru's at against Stats. And as I said, I favor him before. Is Stats going to be able to stop him? That's really the story here. And, talking a little bit about Maru, because it looks like we have some extra time. These guys aren't in the lobby just yet. Maru, he did drop out of both individual leagues, but, I mean, give the guy a break. He was suffering with some injuries. Like, we weren't sure where he was. He was, like, he got a wristband and his shoulder was hurting him. He's always stretching, you know. So, it seems like maybe he took some time off of practicing, which I think helped him. And he's like, okay, I didn't do well. I didn't really do well in these 2 individual leagues. So now I have some time to just lay back and recover. And now it looks like he's recovered entirely. And he's like ready to go every single time he plays. And playing only 1 game a week is fantastic for someone like Maru, who is recovering.
I think that is such a good point. I mean, let's be real for a second. Maru's like becoming a man. Like, he's getting older. He's no longer the little baby Maru from Prime. He's grown up and he's a champion. He's a player who maybe is starting to really figure out, like, okay, I used to just mass games. I was playing 13, 14, 15 years old. Now I think he's like 17 or 18, and his body like can't take the wear and tear of like just grinding out mass games, playing non-stop, playing in every single match. Dinner benched him a few times, didn't play every single match. So looking at where Maru's at now, I think he's just really figured out how to practice better. It's not just about like grinding out your mechanics.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. Smarter practice, so valuable here. I'm actually surprised that this is still a 6-1.
I'm worried, man, because he's been on points, right? He's gotten every single prediction right, whereas the rest of us got 2 of them wrong and 1 of them right. So I don't know. It could be Stats' night tonight just because Chaser votes for him. I'm not sure. Let's jump into the game now. Game number 4, Stats versus Maru. Up here in the top right, in the red, the Protoss player, it is Stats.
Looks pretty confident. His opponent in green, it is Maru. Warping Generic Green Wings wants to close it out for them and take that 3-1 victory with a +2 score. Came to see
Kanata and Maru.
And he gave up his studies to come here. So he's like, nah, studying, why would I do that?
Yeah. Want to come down and watch my first broadcast, I think it said, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And he was born in 1997.
Ooh! Ooh!
Oh my God.
Guys.
I'm like, can we just
The
pause
studio
for a
like gets silent. We're like, uh-oh. That's just not a good sign, to be honest.
That's the thing that like really gets in your head. I know everyone out there has probably played at least 1 or 2 games of StarCraft. You know that feeling where you accidentally cancel a probe, or you like accidentally cancel anything, or you misclick, and that happens. Like literally, you just rally all your probes to one location, or you misrally. If you're already kind of nervous about the matchup that you're playing, or you're stressed out, that will get into your head. I don't care who you are. You know, that's going to be one of those things that like really frustrates you as the game gets starting. So
yeah.
Not going to be like, it's not going to be like, well, Stats lost the game, he misclicked his probes, but
no.
definitely going to be something he's frustrated about here.
Maybe a little bit of foreshadowing to how this game may play out. Maru has embarrassed quite a number of Protosses in his career over the last couple of years. I think he did it to both Creator and Myungshik, where those two guys looked like their entire life was a lie and they didn't know who they were anymore.
The thing about Maru,
too,
is
insane.
Sometimes he cracks a smile like 1 out of like every 2,000 games, as we see our proxy get planted here.
I think I've seen it like once.
But usually when he wins, he has like the cold death stare, like high fives his teammates, but it's like not even a high five because it's Maru and he's like not even, he has no emotions. It's the kind of thing where it's like it's like when you were killed by a robot. It's like you get when you lose to Maru or Innovation sometimes like this, you feel like you were like working at Cafe Bene, but you were replaced by the robot that serves the coffee. You're just like, oh, well, I guess I was destroyed. I guess he's just better than me. There's nothing I can do. This is going to be a Stargate from Stats. Did not expect him to try to cheese Maru here.
This is very interesting because it seems like Maru has been tipped off a little bit. He's sending this Reaper to every corner of the map. He's checked the entire left side. He's now checking the corners here where he can, inside the rocks, right? Now I fully expect him to go scout the right side of the map, the entire one, because it looks like somehow, somebody, we know this about Maru. He's done this before, even against Stats. I remember this game where he went in and scouted the later gases, and he's like, oh no, you have a hidden base. And he like sent a Marine out on one of our biggest maps and found the hidden base. My jaw like did not shut for the next 3 days.
He knows. Like he knows. I mean, this is clear.
He's
literally checking every piece of the map. In just a second, when he goes up to where the Stargate has his entire mini map. Look at his vision. Look at there's like no place unchecked
scout
except.
It, oh my God! That's a really smart location.
Literally, look at the mini map. Look at the mini map. How many places are there where that could be that he hasn't checked? That's like the only one, and then the base of the 6 o'clock. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a really smart location out of Stats. You really have to give it to him.
But he still knows it's there. Like, so I mean, the response is the same, right? He's still going to get something ready for this. He has Marines in position. Widowmine coming out a bit late. Oh, no, he's already got one. Okay, so he's going to get 2 Widowmines even. Let's see how much damage Stats can find here. If he flies in the Widowmine, the answer is going to be 0.
See how far he goes here. I think he has spotted it. Maru is actually trying to bait it in there. He has gotten now 2 of these SCVs, but the Marines do group up and push this away. So nice play there by Stats too. Good control. Just getting whatever kills he can, and he keeps that Oracle alive.
Looks like to stop the follow-up Widowmine drop, he's going to go Phoenix. Oh, a Void Ray. What?
Whoa.
I guess.
Could this be a follow-up all-in with Void Rays and an Immortal?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm like the Void Ray specialist, right? I'm like, this isn't in my recipe book, okay?
The other option, I feel the only other option is just safety, right? Where you just put it on the right side of the map, you stop any drops. I mean, Maru loves to drop, right? It's good to just get it out on this map. There's a lot of locations to drop. But he's already got it rallied towards the base of Maru. But again, he's putting down now a Twilight Council and a Forge.
Yeah, so I think this is just drop defense.
Yeah, there we go. Re-rallies it there. And is going to just defend against drops at his 3rd base. The
thing about a Void Ray for drop defense, because this is something I've been talking about since Wings of Liberty, about how they could be used more often for drop defense, but once they were changed to Heart of the Swarm to use prismatic alignment, basically if you catch a drop over a large enough airspace like this, all you do is press E and it just dies every time. You know, if it's used its boost already, it's definitely going to die. Whereas a Phoenix kills dropships too slowly, so if you're only planning on building 1, you should build a Void Ray and not a Phoenix, and that's what he's doing here. He's not going to use a Stargate anymore. He's like, no, why would I build 1 Phoenix? He can just drop his Marines out and save the dropship. The Void Ray, it's a different story.
Ooh, nice tag there. Gets everything, including the medevac, so he knows this attack is coming across. By the way, Void Ray good for stopping Liberators too. Another good part of this matchup. that Terrans are bringing in. Oracle comes back, snipes the third, and Stats is not looking as weak as I thought he was going to today, man. He's on point.
He's playing really well. Despite that weird mess up in the early game, like, he's very much ready for everything. It looks like it was more for the Liberator than the drop, as he sees it coming instantly. Prismatic Alignments is on the chase there. Double Widowmine drop going to the main. Let's see if Maru hits the natural immediately. He will. There's no defense here. I mean, the army's coming up, but this allows Maru to hit the third base.
Probes. It looks like they may have bunched up. He got 4 probes, but look at this. 2 overcharges coming in. The Marine's just going to focus it down. The Warpins do get canceled, and now they're doing damage at the third.
Oh my god, 14 kills in total here. And Maru's going to stim an escape with a lot of these units. The Liberator actually not dealt with here.
It looks like it finally will be as the Void Ray comes across. It will get 1 kill.
Yeah, I think Stats didn't realize that he didn't get the kill on it.
Yeah.
So 6 kills in total on that Liberator.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, like he got that one at the end after he was repositioning, but in total I believe he got 6. So that's where a lot of those extra probe kills came up to the 15 count. This puts Maru at even workers, which means with mules he's ahead in economy.
Yeah, that was a cool build by Maru. Just the way it worked out, it was harassment at all 3 bases, because it's hard for the Protoss to split everything, and thank God he had the Void Ray, because if he didn't have the Void Ray, I'm not sure how he would have dealt with the Liberator at all at the backdoor base. It would have just stopped mining forever, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, he only has a few Stalkers on the map anyways. Like, they would have had so much trouble. And look at this, forcing another big pull into the main base. This time he doesn't have anything following up, but he looks like he just wants to fight this army straight up for a little bit here. Widowmine going to kill the Adept. And this is a lot of bio, not even all of it unloaded yet. Look at the targets here on these Stalkers, one by one. Maru getting a decent trade.
Getting a decent trade here. It looks like everything will be eventually cleaned up. A lot of the Medivacs do go down. I think 3 out of the 4.
Good targeting by Stats, making this, I think at the end of it, not worth it for Maru. If he had escaped with the damage he did initially, it would have been definitely awesome for him. Maru is going into Liberator production. Right now he has his first 2 on the way. Just checking your computer, and 2 Disruptors are on the way for Stats. So a very even game, really, on both sides of things here.
Yeah, definitely is. Very interested to see how these Disruptors are going to work. I see this more and more often out of Protosses in Korea. I think a lot of the foreign Protosses were loving to use Disruptors in a lot of different matchups, especially against Zerg, but you do see Disruptors coming in here now instead of going for that Storm, which is another option. Generally, you want some kind of AoE, and now that Colossi have kind of fallen out here with their nerf and Legacy of the Void, it's like, well, it's either Disruptors or Storm or just like a lot of Archons and Immortals, just like that very strong, solid composition.
Well, the 2 units, I think, in the game that fans said they thought were the most boring units were definitely the Swarm Host and the Colossus, and guess what? They both got patched out of the game. In competitive play. It's funny, Kanata was telling us yesterday, or he was talking to the pro gamers on CJ, I believe, being like, oh, such a trash unit. And I was like, no, it's not. But, like, yeah, it is. Like, it's funny, like, the Colossus just doesn't have a place right now. Although, like, there are arguments for it in some cases, it just doesn't see play.
Every once in a while, against Terran usually is the only matchup you see. It's like, you can just add it into your army composition. They sit in the back. It's very hard to get to. They don't do nearly as much damage, and they're mainly just like a support unit. You're never going to spam like 8 of them anymore, right?
Yeah.
But it's like if you're in a place in the game where you're up to like 5 bases and you're like, I can afford this, and maybe you can add them in. You know, it's a big map. You can make your composition stronger by having just that constant AoE, consistent. It's not going to go away. Very healthy, strong unit, of course.
Sure. At least that's what I tell myself at night.
To make yourself believe it's not patched out of the game.
I have like a Colossus plushie I sleep with every night because I'm like, oh, you're still with me, it's okay. Well, Advanced Ballistics aren't ready yet, but even without it, with 4 Liberator series, really going to commit to this drop. There's already a cannon and like DTs and an overcharge. I like Stats' defensive position here. I think this drop may be an overextension. Well, he gets everything out. Looks like Stats wasn't paying attention here. There go the overcharges.
Look at the DTs though, no scam. Yeah. Everything gets cleaned up. And he's going to try to attack from this side, but there's Disruptors over here. Nice little micro there from Maru, but it looks like the rest of it should be cleaned up by a Blink follow-up. And really nice defense here from Stats, and Maru cannot find that damage.
That observer placement is perfect. He also made cannons previously. Stats and Zest, both 2 KT pros that love to make extra cannons in this matchup versus drops. We saw him do it on Sejong, Zest in the past, and Heart of the Swarm as well versus these drops. He says, no, I just made like 4 cannons, what are you going to do? You're not going to be able to attack into this. But the DTs were a really nice touch because it allows you to like kill the units as they come out one by one, and if he doesn't scan because he's not paying attention, does some serious work. And Stats is starting to get a significant lead here, so much so that he feels comfortable adding that second Stargate and a Fleet Beacon for Tempests for that late game versus these ranged Liberators.
Yeah, another thing you can do on this map for sure, adding those Tempests in general. I mean, it's a gigantic map, 2-player map, yes, but you have so much space to get a lot of gases, a lot of bases up here, and that is a follow-up that you see very often.
Look at this. He knows this is coming so much so he made 3 cannons and patrolled an Adept. He's like, I know what's next. He's going to hit the 4th. When's he going to do it?
It's like he's figured out the Maru program now. Like
yeah,
we weren't sure that Maru had one, but he's like, no, I have the code.
He literally had the Void Ray ready for the Liberator. Like, he knows everything Maru's about to do before he does it. This Stargate will actually be killed. A somewhat unfortunate positioning here as that proxy from earlier. He knows where it was. He does pick that off with his position. Is that just 1 Adept in the main base? I don't know the story on that.
It's like 2. Let me check in here. Yeah, it's literally just 2 Adepts doing some damage. But look at this. Really nice position. Advanced Ballistics finishes up. And the transition into Stargates there with the Tempest is not working out so far for Stats.
Well, he lost one, first of all, right? And then that was a huge expensive investment. He didn't have any storms or anything like that. He was just relying on Disruptors alone. And really just could not defend there. He's got so many DTs in his army as well. Very expensive unit to have. Not very useful if scans go down like this.
Yeah, and if there's one player I expect to split well against Disruptors, it's Maru. Here we go. Liberator sieging up here. The DT's trying to get to work. No scans to get used by Maru. Pretty, either he didn't notice it or he's like, no, you're not going to send those in. And cancels another base, and he's forcing Stats onto 3 bases again as he takes his own 5th.
He's also got 3-3 on the way. Stats has +3 armor, nearly finished, but no attack. Even though he has 2 forges, looks like he just can't afford it with all the Disruptors and Tempests he's making right now. Huge gas sinks. Good eye here by Maru. Nothing escapes him. No observers, no DTs ever going to get past his eye. Don't you dare ever think about Burrow Roach all-inning him. He's going to see that from a mile away. And the Ghost Academy, we're going full late game here now.
Yeah, already adding in Vikings too. He is very ready for the transition. We were saying that Stats has kind of read Maru here, but I feel like Maru has also read Stats very well, even though it hasn't been the cleanest game from him in terms of his drops. Always having the right answer, ready for the composition of Stats. Now he's setting up another perimeter outside the 3rd base. It looks like he wants to go for the attack. He's not even going for that 4th.
Big stims, and look at all these liberation zones coming down. It's going to be very difficult for Stats to engage into this army. Vikings in the back being picked off first, but again, he sieges up the Liberators, and this time the Protoss army is right underneath them.
Look at that, a big Blake forward trying to focus down these Liberators. He's doing a fantastic job of it, and all the Liberators do go down. And it looks like he has survived here.
So many DT shots going off there as well. Maru not realizing the DTs were there for so long. They got so much value, as it turns out. Maru's 3 upgrades weren't finished either, whereas the +3 armor was ready for Stats. And Stats may even continue to blink forward here with the army advantage he has, with all these blink stalkers. He's being very cautious about it. But he does come here now, going to pick up that Viking, force another stim. And here come the Tempests. He has so many of them. And will Maru have enough time to get an army ready? He doesn't have a bank. I think Stats is going to get further ahead from this attack.
Yeah, he definitely can. I mean, there are going to be 8 Vikings out on the map to deal with this, but look at how many Stalkers, too. 11 is going to be enough here. And forced to lift this base, cancels the planetary, and that 4th base is going to be very hard for Maru to defend as well.
And there is a scout on these units. Again, DTs coming in for the defense, but this is a much bigger army here. DTs alone not going to be able to save this next as Maru targets it down.
He needs to scan. He just needs to scan. He's dealing with this attack. Another planetary over here. He finally scans at that space, but he's also going to lose his 4th, while Stats loses his own 4th. So trading bases here are the players.
Trading bases sounds like a sitcom.
A Starcraft sitcom, trading bases.
It's like the Benny Hill theme has to play for this, but Going to kill this third base now, and Stats is returning home. He is under the impression he is ahead, and he is in this game. He's going to save his probes. If he cleans up this army, he could just simply go for the counterattack, control the game while re-expanding. But he doesn't have enough money to even make a Nexus right now, so how he does this is very, it's very scary. Like, if he loses a lot of units here, it's a big loss.
This is why they always say, I mean, one of the tenets of StarCraft is do not base trade with a Terran, because he's going to be able to lift his command centers. Even if you kill his fourth, he's got another orbital coming. Here it comes, like going down to that fourth. Stats only now gets his fourth base. I guess you can call it his third now. It's only his third base up right now. Up and running now, and that's his only mining base, whereas Maru, he's got a gold running now, he's got Pet landed over here, going to drop a bunch of SCVs over here. Yeah,
to further highlight your point, when you look at the supply, Stats is ahead in supply, but only because of his probes. The army supply 92 to 90. It doesn't matter how many probes he has if he doesn't have bases to mine from, whereas Maru does. A small chunk of this army will get caught here, and he is going to kill these bases. He needs to, like, surgically remove them from the map.
Look at this, though. I mean, Stats is going to commit to killing this gold base, but Maru knows what to do. He's already like, okay, you want to kill that? I mean, I'm just going to kill your base. And he may commit to it. No, he's going to back off, but he stopped the attack. And so he continues to mine here. I love this by Stats to send in just 2 Stalkers, because that's basically all you need.
Yeah, they have +3 armor. These SCVs are going to really struggle to clean them up. I mean, they may eventually, if Stats doesn't blink every time perfectly, which he is actually blinking now. Going to have to bring a unit group back here. 2 more Stalkers actually find damage over here as well, so a lot of harassment. Maru's SCV count is dwindling, and if he loses these 2 bases again, I think Stats' army is better right now, because Maru's army is a bio ball. There are only 2 Liberators. You need Liberators to deal with this army. He's got 11 Vikings. But the switch from Stats back to an adept army.
Look at this. The Stalker's out of position. Vikings getting on top of those Tempests. Going to snipe one. A couple of them very, very low here as well. And Stats is on the run.
Yeah, Stats doesn't have all of his army together, but here come those adept switches I was talking about. They're coming in. Disruptor shots here, not very good, but he's going to have to land the Vikings to win this fight, I feel. He's killing all the Tempests, so the Vikings need to get on the ground. There they go. Down they go, landing. 1 Disruptor does have a Purification Nova, and Vikings can't split very quickly.
Oh, it looks like 2 of them do go down. More bio coming across, but it's so close. It looks like Stats should be able to win this.
Yep, and a lot of the army supply you guys see at the top right is in these 7 medevacs here. They can't fight. They can lift these units up and save them. Look at the minimap. He's like sending units over to harass, but there's nothing to kill, and there's only a few units in those medevacs. This is a better position for Stats right now. Maru trying as he may to try to get a few more units out.
That is really smart by Maru, but I'm not sure it's going to matter all too much. He should be able to eventually deal with the Liberator. And look at this, all the mining of Maru has stopped.
He's not mining anything. He can't even make a Marine right now, and Stats needs to defend this base. He's got so many probes, 67 probes to 17. Maru has the better army supply again. He's using Vikings here to defend, but here's a recall.
Gonna recall. It looks like some of these units are gonna go down. Liberator does get sniped. That's the only Liberator he did have.
And that's critical because now Stats can mine. Maru goes back to mining as well. But
again, Stats is like, okay, I know what's going on. I just have to go attack once again. The army of Maru is pretty puny right now. Stats knows that, but Stats does need to keep his army together.
Yeah, I think the one weakness of Stats in this game is that Maru does have the better army with so many medevacs. Each unit has a personal healer here, and now he's got the high ground controlled. Even the Mothership Core is so important at defending this base right now. It's basically 1 base versus 1 base, and every single unit matters.
I think Maru's in a fantastic position now. Yeah. Gonna drop behind this. The pylon is not in position here. And all these probes are going to be sent to long distance mine, but that Nexus is in trouble.
He's going to lose it. It's his only mining base. He's sending long distance probes across. Harass over here for Stats, meanwhile, but enough bio may clean this up if he pulls his SCVs. Even without it, he can just rally the units.
Even the rallied units are going to come over here. Liberator's going to join up, and that was the last hope of Stats. He can't stop the mining of Maru, whereas the base of Stats just went down.
His army is puny as well. He doesn't have a single disruptor. All that Maru has to do is scan, drop these units off, and that will be game. Jin Air is going to come on with a 3-1 win today versus KT Rolster. That's going to be it.
What a close game. GG. Maru does take it and get the win, as you did say, for Jin Air. Really, really nicely done.
Is it just me, or is PBT the best matchup in Legacy of the Void right now to watch? We see these crazy games.
I love this, yeah. Non-mirror matchup, I'd say, for sure, PBT.
Yeah.
One of my favorites. And I have to say, I was kind of counting stats out before that game, but, man, he played a great game.
He brought it.
Given all the external circumstances, he came to play tonight. He played really, really well. I feel like Maru just played slightly a bit better. I mean, of course, he's got a lot more time to focus on only this match for sure, and does take that win. You
really,
see even Maru looking exhausted here.
Yeah, really happy though. You could tell. I mean, I said he smiles 1 in 1,000 games. This is one of those times. And
only stats can make him smile. Oh, he's smiling again, man.
He must be so happy. And this is such
like
a
rare
big win.
Pokemon.
You know, versus the telecom teams, as many indicator points as you can get is awesome. And they get 2 here. So, big win for Jin Air. And KT is so upset because they had their first 2 players were the favorites by far. Like, it's just very clear. So they were expecting, I think, an easier match today. Now they lose. They get -2 off of Jin Air. But they got so lucky with the starting players. Like, Trap and Creator coming out, and Jin Air still 3-1s. This shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I mean, SOS, not sure where he is, but deciding to use Creator instead. And he does get that win. Trap taking out TY2. Zest, the one hero for KT Rolster, still pretty on a roll himself. And those 2 players, Zest and Maru, will be tied once again. Of course, Maru is undefeated, but Zest also is 8 wins there, but does have 2 losses.
Yep, but you know, all that matters is wins. Obviously, the player who has less losses is more impressive in a way, but it does speak volumes that Zest was fielded more times than Maru, kind of saying like they use him every time. That's how important he is. Yep. That's how valuable
more
he is.
ace matches, you know?
Yeah, so I mean, it really like, you can look at it both ways. The fact that he has 2 more losses actually is kind of impressive in a way that he was fielded that much more.